What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode. Hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and share the video. Hit the join button and become a member. I hope y'all had a good Christmas. Merry Christmas to everyone. Mine was okay. Went to my little bro Gino house, baby Gino. Him and his girl, his wife Keisha, cooked me some macaroni and cheese, 2 different kinds of chicken, couple pieces of cornbread. Thank you, Keisha. Thank you, Gino. I appreciate y'all. And I hope everyone else had a safe and good Christmas. Let's get into it. The end of all hostilities between the Southsiders and the Nortenos. What is it all about? What's the reason behind it? Are they trying to unify to get more numbers, to attack blacks and be stronger against black people? Or do they just want to end their own war? How do black people feel about it? Well, I've spoken with blacks over this very thing. First, let me explain what's going on for those who may not know. The Nortenos and the Southsiders are both Hispanic groups. They are enemies, former enemies. Just like the Bloods and the Crips, they are arch rivals. They've had a long-standing bloody war between the two of them. The difference between them and the Crips and the Bloods is that the Crips and the Bloods, for the most part, grew up with one another. Crips right here and a block away is the Blood set, that's an enemy set. They know each other's families, etc. Whereas the Nortenos and the Sureños are out here in the south, and the Nortenos are way up there in the north. They don't know each other like that. They really meet each other when they go to prison. Excuse me. And go at it with one another. And they decided, after decades of warring with each other and killing one another, that it was time to end, as they call it, all hostilities. Well, the blacks team up typically, normally, formally, with the Nortenos in prison. The reason being that particularly the Crips, but blacks in general, see the Southsiders as opposition, as the enemigos inside of the prison system. We're constantly at each other's throats, as is blacks and whites and whoever else, whatever group. But the Southsiders being the most formidable group that is in our opposition. And with the Southsiders and the Nortenos having this war and beef going on for many years, well, we had a common foe, a common enemy. And so naturally, the blacks and the Southsiders, the blacks and the Nortenos began to unify. We were cool with the Nortenos, very cool. We exchanged weapons. I know of many incidents where we supported the Nortenos. They were outnumbered, outgunned, outstructured in some situations, in certain prisons against the Southsiders, and we had their back. There have been times when they had our back in certain situations, of course. And we've had a long-standing alliance with the Nortenos. Black people have inside of the California penal system. And a lot of blacks now feel betrayed by the Nortenos. I'm just telling you what it is. They feel like it's one thing to end all hostilities. Because, and I feel like, who can fault a group who has decided to end a war between them that has caused so much bloodshed? The end to the war is going to save many lives. And if you have love for your race and love for each other, eventually a truce is inevitable. Even though there have been so much bloodshed on both sides. And there's a dichotomy of feeling, as it is with many black people that I've spoken with. Speaking from my own perspective, I understand the end to the hostilities because it's going to save lives. Who can fault a group for being smart and realizing that they're stronger together than they are apart, and that if they unite, that they can take over some stuff? This is what they believe. And so they decided to have the strength to put down their hostilities and to unite for the greater good of their race and for self-preservation inside of the penal system. This I cannot fault them for. However, there's one thing to end hostilities with someone, and there's another thing to unite with them. And that's what they have done. And I personally take umbrage to the unification only in the sense that the Nortenos, when the black that I spoke of in my prior video, the Crip from San Diego 30s, who stabbed the Mexican mafia when he went to Salinas Valley and was attacked. Well, of course, a war ensued subsequently. And the Nortenos went to the Bloods and the Crips and the rest of the blacks and told them, from my understanding, in Salinas Valley, and we had a war. The Hoovers had a war with the Nortenos in Salinas Valley. When I was there, there's a lot of bloodshed over this. I'm going to get into that story. The war with the Hoovers and the Nortenos. But anyhow, they went to the blacks and told the blacks, the Nortenos did, that as long as it's just the Crips and the Southsiders that are going at it with each other, they're going to stand down. However, if other blacks get involved, the Muslims, the Bloods, the non-affiliates, and help the Crips against the Southsiders, then they are going to help the Southsiders. The Nortenos told the blacks that they're going to team up with the Southsiders against the rest of the blacks. Well, I understand why the blacks would take umbrage to this. I do. I take umbrage to it because you're now saying that the same group that we helped you guys with, the same group that you've helped us with, you're now going to team up with them against us. We were just helping you. We were just giving you weapons to help you against these people. Now you're going to team up with them and attack us. This is what they told the blacks. And naturally, blacks feel betrayed, some of them. And some, as I said, man, I understand it was bound to happen. They're all Hispanics. They're all people. They came together. Who cares? We ain't crying about it. We just got to get our shit together. And that's it. And then there are others who feel betrayed. And they are disseminating the information that these people can no longer be trusted. They are no longer allies. And some people are propagating at least the opinion that the unification between the two was to strengthen them to go against the blacks. That one group felt like they needed help over the other. I don't believe that that was the case. I believe that they just got together and felt like they would be stronger with a truce than they are with attacking each other. And really, the onus then is on black people inside of the California penal system to cultivate love and come together. The time is now. Now, I'm going to have a conversation with black men, with my people in this country and in the California penal system. I have a couple of ideas that can help preserve our lives. But that's a conversation that I'm going to have with you and not on YouTube. This conversation is for my people and my people only. However, I will say now, because the situation is such an urgency that I feel compelled to say now that black men need to start this very moment cultivating love for one another and love for your race, because it is only love that will bring about freedom and self-preservation for black people in this country, in this state, in every state, and in every California penal system or every penal system worldwide. What happens is black people tend to get angry over a certain situation, and we react out of anger. When you see these riots because a police has unalived a black man unjustifiably, those riots are necessary, but those are just outbursts. Those are just reactions to an action. That's just anger representing and releasing itself. But in order to have true freedom, you need a revolution, which is sustained action. And the only way to develop a revolution and sustained action is love of self and love for your people. When you love your people, you're willing to die for them. Most of you have children that you're willing to die for. Why? Because you love them so. And you'll give your life for them. And when you love your people more than you love yourself, when you love the cause more than you love yourself, then you will be willing to sacrifice your life for your cause, for the cause, and for your people. And when we get to that point where we are willing to sacrifice our lives for one another, then people will begin to respect us, fear us, and not be so quick to challenge us. But they do it now because of our lack of accountability and our lack of self-love. It is love that will initiate a revolution and sustain it, not anger. Anger is temporary. That's why you see these angry outbursts, these angry riots for 2 or 3 weeks or 2 or 3 days, and then they dissipate or disappear in their totality. You don't hear about them anymore. You don't see about them anymore until another incident happens, and then again we react, get angry, react, get angry, react, have a riot, our anger subsides, and it's over. That's not a revolution. That's an angry outburst. A revolution is sustained action. And when we have sustained action, we will have change. But the only way to have sustained action is through love. Love of self, love of culture, love of people. But again, black men, that's a conversation that you and I will have amongst ourselves. We'll sit down and we'll talk shop. For now, be vigilant. If you are behind those walls in the California penal system, there's a unification going on. I'm not insinuating that the end of all hostilities has anything to do with black people, that they're not going to team up and try to attack black people. I'm not insinuating that whatsoever. I don't know what their agenda is. That's their business. But what I do know is that there's strength in numbers, and that when you get a particular strength and a particular power, oftentimes you tend to try to exercise it with aggression upon a weaker opponent or an opponent who is not as strong in numbers. And I'm just saying for black people to be hyper vigilant and hyper and ultra observant when it comes to anything and anyone inside of the California penal system as it relates to this time. Because a lot of people are against you. And if we continue to be against ourselves, we have no chance. We must come together and come together now and fight whoever wants to fight. We don't care who you are. You understand? That's what needs to happen, and it needs to happen now. So there's the end of all hostilities. And they have come together. Now, I'm going to find out myself, do a little bit of an investigation, and find out exactly what this means. Because there can be a myriad, a plethora of reasons for this unification. And there can be a plethora of fallout over this unification. It just depends on how they approach their new truce. But again, it's not about them. It's about us. And we have to stay strong, stay militant, stay vigilant, and cultivate self-love. That's how we overcome any obstacle. Well, coming up, I'm going to take you back to the Los Angeles County Jail and talk to you about the Danos and the Hoovers. Well, they joined forces and came up with what they call a snitch list. They had a list. All of them carried this list with people who were telling on their case in the Los Angeles County Jail. Somehow they were able to get their hands on this list. And they put together a hit squad to track these snitches down and attack them. And many of these attacks were bloody and vicious. They went around the modules finding these snitches and attacking them. I know some of these guys that were attacked. I know some of the guys that were doing the attacking. And it was legendary. And we're going to get into it. It's coming up, people. Stay free.